Confidence is not something that simply appears in a person's life. It is built gradually through experience, repetition, and the steady development of real ability. When you begin to focus on mastering a specific skill, whether it is communication, writing, leadership, a craft, or a professional discipline, you're not only improving your external performance, but also reshaping your internal belief system. Every time you practice with intention, you send a message to your mind that you are capable of growth, and this repeated message slowly replaces doubt with assurance. As you continue this journey, you start to notice that confidence is not dependent on luck, personality, or external approval, but rather on the evidence you create through your own effort. Dr. Joseph Murphy's ideas often emphasize the power of the mind in shaping reality. And in a similar spirit, when you consistently train your abilities, your subconscious begins to accept the identity of a capable and skilled individual. This shift does not happen instantly. It is the result of small, deliberate actions repeated over time, such as practicing a skill daily, reviewing your progress honestly, and making corrections without discouragement. Each improvement, no matter how small, becomes a building block for a stronger sense of self-trust. As competence grows, fear naturally begins to weaken because fear often exists where uncertainty dominates, and uncertainty fades when experience increases. You begin to approach challenges differently, not as threats, but as opportunities to apply what you have learned and to expand your capability further. This transformation creates a powerful cycle. Practice builds skill, skill builds confidence, and confidence encourages even deeper practice. Over time, you no longer rely on external validation to feel secure in your abilities because your internal evidence becomes stronger than outside opinions. You understand through lived experience that mastery is not reserved for a select few, but available to anyone willing to commit to consistent effort. In this process, discipline becomes more valuable than motivation because motivation fluctuates, while disciplined action produces measurable progress. As you continue developing your chosen skills, you begin to carry yourself differently, speak with more clarity, and make decisions with greater certainty. This is the natural outcome of aligning belief with action. The more you invest in improving yourself, the more your mind aligns with the identity of someone who is capable, focused, and resilient. Eventually, confidence is no longer something you try to force. It becomes a natural reflection of your accumulated experience and proven ability. As this process of skill development continues, the way you perceive effort itself begins to change, shifting from something that feels burdensome into something that feels purposeful and rewarding. Instead of avoiding challenges or fearing mistakes, you start to recognize them as essential parts of learning that help refine your abilities and deepen your understanding. Every error becomes a form of feedback rather than a reflection of inadequacy. And this mindset shift is crucial for long-term growth. You begin to see that mastery is not defined by perfection, but by persistence, and that each step forward, even if small, contributes to a larger transformation in both skill and character. Over time, your focus moves away from immediate results and toward consistent improvement, which creates a more stable and resilient form of confidence. This is the kind of confidence that does not collapse under pressure because it is grounded in experience rather than assumption. In alignment with principles often associated with Dr. Joseph Murphy, the subconscious mind plays a powerful role in reinforcing these patterns of thought. When you repeatedly engage in disciplined practice, your mind gradually accepts the identity you are building, and this internal acceptance influences how you behave in real-world situations. You start to act in ways that are consistent with someone who is competent and capable, even before you feel completely confident, and this behavior reinforces your progress even further. As your abilities expand, you also begin to notice improvements in other areas of your life, such as decision-making, communication, and emotional stability, because the discipline required for mastery in one area naturally spills over into others. You become more patient with yourself and more strategic in your approach, understanding that meaningful progress requires time and consistency rather than shortcuts. This realization removes much of the anxiety that comes from comparing yourself to others, as your attention shifts inward toward your own measurable growth. Instead of measuring success by external standards, you begin to define it through personal progress and self-mastery. Each milestone you reach becomes evidence of your capability, strengthening your belief in what you can achieve in the future. As this cycle continues, confidence becomes less of a goal and more of a natural byproduct of how you live and work. You no longer seek validation to feel secure because your repeated experiences of improvement provide a deeper and more reliable foundation. In this state, learning becomes a lifelong habit rather than a temporary effort, and growth becomes part of your identity rather than an occasional activity. As this journey of mastery continues to deepen, you begin to experience a more profound transformation that extends beyond skills and performance and reaches into the very way you understand yourself and your place in the world. What once felt uncertain or intimidating gradually becomes familiar territory, not because the challenges have disappeared, but because your capacity to handle them has expanded. You start to realize that confidence is not a fixed trait that some people have and others lack, but rather a living quality that grows in direct proportion to your willingness to engage with difficulty and persist through discomfort. The more you expose yourself to structured practice and intentional learning, the more your mind adapts to see challenges as normal rather than threatening. This shift is subtle at first, but over time it becomes deeply rooted in your thinking patterns and daily behavior. You begin to trust your own process, knowing that even when progress feels slow, it is still happening beneath the surface. In this stage of development, discipline becomes your most reliable ally, guiding you forward even when motivation fades or distractions arise. Each moment you choose to practice instead of procrastinate strengthens your identity as someone committed to growth, and this identity becomes the foundation of your self-confidence. Drawing inspiration from teachings associated with Dr. Joseph Murphy, it can be understood that the thoughts you consistently hold and the actions you repeatedly take work together to shape your inner reality. As you continue reinforcing positive patterns through effort and repetition, your subconscious mind begins to align with the image of a capable and resourceful individual. This alignment does not happen through wishful thinking alone, but through lived experience that confirms your abilities over and over again. You also begin to notice a significant change in how you respond to failure. Instead of interpreting setbacks as final judgments, you see them as temporary feedback that helps refine your approach. This perspective allows you to recover more quickly from mistakes and maintain forward momentum without losing confidence. Over time, this resilience becomes one of your greatest strengths, enabling you to stay consistent even in the face of uncertainty. As your competence grows, so does your sense of inner stability, and you find yourself less affected by external opinions or temporary circumstances. You begin to operate from a deeper sense of self-assurance that is rooted in evidence rather than emotion. Ultimately, this ongoing process of mastery reshapes not only your abilities, but your entire mindset, allowing you to approach life with greater clarity, strength, and unwavering belief in your capacity to grow further.